Well, this is fun, isn't it? Wow. Alright, so now that I've killed off any potential viewer base that I have for this live stream, and I don't even have the Amazon copy live yet, we're gonna take a minute to figure some stuff out here, ladies and gentlemen. Things have not gone according to plan. Alright. So this will be the first in a long time, and now the last time that I ever try using Restream, apparently, because what the hell did it just do to my YouTube channel? It just kept creating new live stream events, and it just kept disconnecting at random, even though OBS is reporting that everything is fine. So we're never doing that again, and I'm going to be rolling my own multi-streaming tool for the next shows, because holy hell, I have never had a stream start this poorly. So we are going to virtual camera out to another OBS, assuming this works. OBS virtual camera. Yep, we're just gonna leave that there. All right. Actually, I can show you all what I'm doing right now. I can go over here to... So I am setting up a... what do you call it? I'm setting up a portable instance of OBS to stream to Amazon, because this show is supposed to be streamed to Amazon. So this is why I specifically did a... Now it's saying it can't support 4K streaming on YouTube. What in the world? I'm doing a 4K stream, YouTube. I always do 4K streams. Oh, why did it set to low latency? I didn't tell it to go to low latency. Whatever. Today's show is a mess, ladies and gentlemen, and that's fine. You're getting to see the magic behind the scenes. So this is why I did a first episode here as... Where is my broadcast stream mix? There it is. This is why I did a first episode as a test run, because I knew there were going to be problems. I didn't know that the problems would be to blame on freaking Restream of all things. So I'm going to copy my stream key into this OBS, and we're going to hit live on Amazon, and we'll be good to go. I hope. Start streaming. I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is not quite what I expected to go down. Alright. So I'm waiting it to go live here. This has been the wildest stream I have ever done in terms of issues. Alright. We're live. Let me get my tweets out. Tweets out for Harambe. Jesus Christ. Actually, I can switch over to this view. Holy hell, guys. Alright. This has been an experience. Last time I tested Restream, everything worked okay. Everything good to go. And now it's not. So that's great. And Restream, today I learned, just makes a bunch of new streams anytime it disconnects, which is mind-boggling. That should never happen. So hopefully I privated all of the extra ones. I think it's appropriate that we had so many issues on a show that's literally called AFK Chat. But, you know, it's not how it's supposed to go. So hello. Hello. We are here. We are live here on Amazon without all of my mic filtering, but that's fine. We're here on YouTube. Today, we are starting a new show called AFK Chat. I will be running this show better than today on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern at the same time here as That's what this is. So the point of AFK Chat is to give me a show that will allow me to talk about products and tech topics and things like that that I don't normally get to in a video. We've had a lot of success with my previous, oh, someone pointed out there's an audio sync issue over on Amazon, and that's because I didn't add my, all right, ladies and gentlemen, tech tip. Let's go back to the split view here. Tech tip. When you're setting up your audio in OBS, obviously different capture cards are different things, but pretty much every audio interface to capture card will need at least 100 milliseconds of audio drift accounted for in the OBS settings here. So make sure you have that set up. All right, hopefully that's a little bit better. All right, so AFK Chat is a show that will allow me to focus on products and tech topics and things like that that I can't really, oh yeah, it is showing the older chat too. Jesus Christ. All right, we'll fix all of this for the next episode. The point is to show products and topics that I can't cover in a video either because it's just too small or it's something that I just... the way I make videos is that I will spend easily way too long, like weeks and weeks and weeks, trying to get everything right, trying to get all the notes down, trying to get everything going, or either put off trying to work on the video in order to get the best video that I can. For example, and I'm not talking about this in today's video, so it's not in the carousel, but for example, this is a cool little streaming device called the Epiphan Pearl Nano. They sent this to me back in March, and I haven't reviewed it yet. I'm finally getting to the process, but because I had so many other projects going on that I couldn't really sit down and dedicate the time that I should dedicate towards working on that kind of project. So the point of the show, given the success we have had with my Streamer News bi-weekly live show on YouTube, is that I can probably do just as good enough of a job as I would in a video, minus the fancy B-roll, here in a live stream, but allow me to actually cover these things that I otherwise just would never get around to. So it's going to be a little bit more raw, a little bit more off the cuff, as we can see clearly by the issues that we have had, and it will feature some pretty interesting topics. So, for example, here we have, people are still saying audio sync is broken, even though I haven't matched between my OBS instances. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't even have audio sync on this one, so I don't know. But it looks in sync to me. But we're gonna have pretty cool stuff in this stream where, for example, I'm gonna be doing an episode of AFK Chat where we take cheap little webcams and get the best possible picture we can out of them. We're gonna take cheaper microphones and get the best quality audio out of them. That way we are reviewing multiple of, cheaper products in a lineup. We get to actually review those products as well, but we also get to teach you something about them and help you make a purchasing decision. Now, of course, this is a primarily Amazon-focused live stream show, and so with that in mind, I do have some Amazon-specific features that I will be showing off over there. So here is what the Amazon stream kind of looks like. We've got chat here. I'm not going to show too much since people are worried about their names. But what we have below the show over on Amazon here is a product carousel. So the first things I have in here are actually the background music that I'm using on this stream. I hope you can hear it. It should be balanced fairly well. This is called Backing Track. It is a royalty-free stream and YouTube music service that my community has put together that we have built and released free for you to use. The albums are available on Amazon. It lists prices, but that will also take you to the Amazon Music listing for the different albums that we have. So we have Versus, Divided, Morses, and there's a few EPs and a few other albums on there as well. And it's some pretty freaking awesome music that I think fills the gap of some specific music genres and things like that that don't necessarily exist or get along well with the current royalty-free streaming music kind of ecosystem. And so we are super stoked to have released that. We'll have a dedicated ad spot during the break for this as well. But you can actually get them here available on the Amazon carousel as well. We also have we have the products we're going to be talking about. I do have one specific mention here, and it's because we like covering deals over on my Discord server. And that is, you can get a desk right now for $9. If you need a desk, this is kind of a risk worth taking. Now you can see here, it shows that the reviews are crappy. However, the only ones that actually wrote reviews, one just said theirs came damaged, so they had to return it. woo. The other one is actually fairly positive. It is not a verified purchase, however. And then there are two more global ratings that aren't included here. So it could be a piece of crap, but for $9, it might be worth taking a risk. And Amazon's return service are pretty solid, so you have that going for you. $89. No, $8.99. Like I said, could be anything from a pricing error to whatever, but realistically, pretty decent to at least test it out. Oh yeah, and someone in the Amazon chat pointed out it comes with built-in wireless charger and a little cable management thing, which is pretty wild. Obviously, I don't have it. I don't have room to buy and test another desk, but it's worth considering. So today's primary topic here is we are talking about teleprompters. We are talking about teleprompters because I have been on a teleprompter journey over the past, actually, technically the past 4 years. I started back at my first apartment, and in fact, I can pull up one of these videos probably. Although it was in 2016, so I don't know how realistic I can pull it up here. But if I go back, if I find a video from that era.
Back towards the start.
This one is 2017, so it's not the first apartment. But videos like this, where I was using my first teleprompter, were shot. I got a giant Amazon Basics tripod to put the teleprompter on, and it was some giant mechanism that you had to put together piece by piece by yourself, and it was clearly almost like a homemade project, but it worked. But it was a pain to work with, and then my camera was stuck in there, and I couldn't take it out of there without basically disassembling the whole thing. And ever since then, I have been on a teleprompter journey of sorts, as I want to get a decent quality teleprompter that allows me a couple things. The first problem with the big teleprompter that I have is when you have a bigger teleprompter view here in front of your camera and you have text going all the way across, because for that we were using my Microsoft Surface RT tablet and PowerPoint slides that were inverted and set to black and white. I was just using a remote to flip through those. You can clearly see me, like, my eyes darting way past the lens. So I wanted something that helped with that, and I wanted something that was a little bit more portable. So when I'm setting up different camera setups and the like, it was easier to use. So the first one that I purchased then is the one I've been using until this month, but we're going to talk about the differences and why I am sort of switching, is from Teleprompter, which is, I think I can feature the products in the carousel here on the Amazon chat. Let me see here. If I click this, yeah, Teleprompter. And then I can just pull it up for you all on the YouTube stream through the split view here. So this is the Teleprompter. This one, yeah, okay. So it is this little device right here. You put your phone in it. So for example, I have a Google Pixel 4 here. You put your phone in it, it slots underneath, reflects back up at the screen. You use their app or whatever app you want to use. And then it comes with these little rings that thread onto the front of your lenses. And so they have different rings for the different thread sizes of your lenses. And you just slot it in front of the lens, it shoots through it. And this is honestly, overall, is kind of the most natural way to go with regards for showing the text on screen where you are looking directly into the lens. Because you can see here, the cutout is mostly, you know, the lens cutout is mostly behind this piece of, it's really just acrylic. So most of the text is going to be centered right in the lens, and you are looking into the lens. Someone's asking if music is on. Was that planned? Yes, we just had a whole part of the video about it. It's featured in the Amazon carousel. It's music that we have released. We'll have an ad spot for it in a little bit. So this is pretty cool. This has been a great workflow, and overall, I recommend it. It comes with a really crappy Bluetooth remote to control the app. I don't feel like keeping up with it, so I don't even know where mine is at the moment. But I do use their app, even though I am not a big fan of it, because it's just a little frustrating to use. But they do have an app that just kind of scrolls through your text, and they have some degree of voice control for it. I don't like that. But you can control the margins, so you can figure out where, you know, how centered it is on here and how fast the text goes and things like that, which is great. The problem is, this does not allow for a very wide angle lens. And as someone who works in a studio space that is pretty small, I've been shooting in, you know, my apartments prior to this, and now I've built my studio, but everything is kind of built around wider angle lenses because I'm in smaller spaces. It's the easier way to really get, you know, the right angles that I want. This only works for about up to 35 millimeter equivalent lenses. And so I have my primary lens on my camera, which I'll show you in a moment, which is the Canon 24-70 f2.8 lens. And if I set it to 24 millimeters, then I can just reach out to the lens and focus on myself. But in order to use this on that lens, because it's a zoom lens and the way the focus planes work or something, I actually have to set it to at least 50 millimeters in order to not show the prompter in this. Meanwhile, if I get a dedicated 35 millimeter lens, I can shoot through this no problem. But either way, I have to push even though I'm on a full frame field of view, I have to push the camera too far away to actually focus on myself, which is pretty annoying. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you here, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to flip on my camera. Big old light in the background here. Swing our mic around. Hello! Once this gets powered on, I do have its dedicated scene for this. I thought. Yeah. Hello. Apply my LUT. Or not. There we go. Hi. Okay. So this is my Ursa Mini Pro with a full frame field of view mod. I am on the 24-70 lens. I've got a decent LUT running through here. The capture card for the SDI output is super laggy, so the frame rate's not going to be great. I do apologize for that. But with this teleprompter here, I can then just slot it on the camera. Now, the problem you can see with this is it looks like I'm inside a pyramid. That's not great. However, at the 24mm focus length, I can reach out, focus on myself, check the monitor up above the lens, slot in my phone here, and start talking, other than the fact that you can see all of this in the frame, and that's not okay. You know, a little bit of foreground element isn't too bad, a little bit of vignetting isn't too bad, but this is bad. So then with this lens, I have to start zooming in, zooming in, zooming in. We're about at the 50mm mark now. And if I still want it within reach to focus, you are looking at this is a very awkwardly intimate view. You don't want that. So I've been looking for alternative solutions. Before I get to that alternative solution, I'm gonna go turn off my baby monitor real quick. Hold on just a sec. So someone's asking for clarification of how far until the hood is not visible. If you are on a zoom lens, it is about 50 millimeters. That is how far I have to zoom in before you don't see the hood of the teleprompter. If you are on a prime lens, it works at 35 millimeters, and that is full frame equivalent. So, you know, adjust for your crop factor in mind. Someone says, interesting, the parrot works fine on my A6600 and Sigma 16mm. That is because your 16mm is actually a 32-ish millimeter lens, because it's an APS-C. Actually, that's a 28-ish millimeter. Well, crop factors aren't perfect, but generally speaking, the best full frame field of view I can get with it is 35 millimeters, and that's even with a prime lens. You can probably get closer, like 28 isn't too bad, but generally speaking, and that is also the shared experience of other creators that I have heard of using it and things like that. That is where the second teleprompter that I have just recently looked into. This is the Desview T2, which is the same price as the Parrot prompter. It's a lot more jank though, if I'm honest, in terms of what you're actually getting in the box. The presentation on the website looks pretty good and whatever, and conceptually it's the same idea. You got this plastic lens hood, it slips onto your camera lens with some attachment rings, and in fact I found that Stream Deck. I found that I was able to actually use the exact same rings that I already had on my lenses for the Parrot prompter when I was testing it, and slotted this right in place. But this actually supports a much wider angle lens because of how wide this is set up to be. Now, at first, they're quoting basically the same focal length, so it didn't seem very believable that it would be any different. Did my stream just die? Hello? Nope, YouTube just decided to freak out on me. Cool, thanks YouTube. Anyway, the problem is the mount that it comes with is terrible. So I have rigged up my own solution. So if we look at the actual Amazon product page here, if we go back to the split view, I want to look at the mount here. So this is the phone mount that it comes with. It's this little plastic piece that slots out in front and puts your phone there. However, I did some testing with that and it just shoots right into the image because it is too close to the glass. So for example, if I come in here, I did some, oh, actually, they are not, I don't have the files here. I can pull them up off of something else, but effectively, that the phone itself, you could actually, if you had a decent enough focal length, the phone itself wasn't necessarily in the view, but this little rubber bump shot directly into the camera's field of view, and it was incredibly frustrating. And so, for example, if I open this image up here. Nope, that's not gonna let me do it. Well, here. I'll just move this over. You can see here, this big old bump right here just shoots into the frame. I had it twisted a little crooked so you saw the phone, but that bump, even when you have only a tiny bit of vignetting from the hood of the teleprompter, that would be fine. That looked like normal vignetting. But you have this big old bump, and that was unacceptable. So what I did instead was I grabbed, which are a couple of the other products featured in the description and in the Amazon carousel here. I grabbed a basic little phone or friction arm. This one's a shorter version, but a little friction arm. I attached it using the included cold shoe adapter mount and threaded mount here. And we'll get that up close on camera here. So I have just screwed it into where the phone mount would typically go. And just screwed it into the back because I hoard grip gear, so I always have this stuff. Attached a phone clamp to it, and this gets the phone at a downward angle that is out of the view of the teleprompter, but still allows me the wide angle view. So, for example, we're gonna switch back over to the big camera here. And yes, I do realize this camera view is choppy. It is the capture card I'm using for SDI. I don't know what's wrong with it. We pull this off. Make sure we're zoomed out here. Pull off the parrot prompter. Slot this one right on the same ring when it wants to cooperate, which of course it doesn't. There we go. Look at that. I'm at the same 24mm focal length, and you pretty much don't see anything. I think up in this corner you can kind of see it. There's like a little color fringe from the LED lights or something, but otherwise you don't see anything. So then I take my phone here, which has the Amazon Chat, put it in the phone clamp, and there's some tweaking of the angles to be done, but effectively I can see everything right in front of my lens right here, but you don't see it on camera, and I still have the flexibility to reach out and focus on myself and do all of that with the full 24mm full frame focal length. And actually, do I still have another lens? Hang on, I have another lens to show. This one's going to be a little bit more roughly thrown on here, but if we take off the 24 to 70, and we put on this one, which is a 15mm Laowa lens, super wide. Give me focused on myself here. Incredibly wide. You get a nice view of the desk setup here. And we bring this teleprompter back. I don't have the ring attached to it, but if we set it in front of it, it still works for the most part. That is insane. That is genuinely insane. Like, this will work up to 15mm with just a little bit of added vignetting or what have you. and still looks great. Now, yes, all of these cheaper teleprompters, these are only $100. All of these cheaper teleprompters will add a tiny bit of softness or haze to your image. Honestly, that's fine because digital video cameras are way too sharp in general, so it kind of acts kind of like a pro mist of sorts. Gives you a little bit of a diffusion layer here, but that's just kind of the side effect of using cheap acrylic versus proper teleprompter glass and things like that. But with a little bit of rigging, this is like the perfect teleprompter setup, and I love it. Like I said, the product itself is way more cheaply made. The packaging and things included are a little bit more jank compared to the Parrot Prompter, but it is phenomenal. Why are these more than $100? These are $99. That's how much they are. Like the Desview one over here says that it's $119 and on sale for $99, but it's always been, like, if we go to, I think I have Keepa installed. Okay, it has sold for $119, but they're pretty much always going to be $99. I wouldn't buy it for more than $99. And yes, the parts themselves are cheap. It's plastic. Theoretically, it shouldn't cost this much, but you're buying a purpose-built thing that was designed for this, and that's what they all cost, so you're not really going to find it cheaper other than used prices. So, IMO, that's what we should, that's what you should really be aiming for in terms of teleprompters if you're interested in wide angles. I will say, especially since I had to rig up the whole phone clamp thing and this is falling off, I'm actually going to swap out the actual mounting hardware I use at some point and get proper nuts and bolts on here, because this is already, it's pretty jank. But I will say, if you're using a cropped in focal length of 30-ish millimeters or more anyway, I would probably go with the Parrot Prompter instead, just because it's a little bit more of a reliable setup. But it's pretty cool. This one does also, the Desview one does come with a remote. Again, it's in the box. I haven't used it. I don't plan on using it. But it's effectively the kind of same setup as the Parrot Prompter. What I love here is that they compare it to another one with not coming with a remote and everything, even though, like, they literally show the Glide Gear one, and we're going to talk about a Glide Gear one here. So I think that's amusing. But yeah, when we're talking camera gear and production gear, cheap doesn't exist. Cheap is a non-existent idea. Camera gear just gets expensive just because. So we have another teleprompter I do want to talk about here for our final bit of comparison before we talk about a couple other things and want to interact with you guys, see what you think about teleprompters and things like that. But this one is still in the box. So I'm going to run our little promo for the music that seemed to really confuse some people. And we'll be right back. Yeah. Do you need stream-safe music for your streams and videos, but want something a little heavier? My awesome community sought to solve that and made Backing Track. Hard rock and heavy metal music, safe for your content and free to use. No subscriptions. Head over to backingtrack.gg to stream it or join our Discord for free downloads. Again, that's backingtrack.gg if you're on the YouTube stream. If you're on the Amazon stream, there is some of the albums linked in the carousel below the feed. And this will actually take you, it lists the price, but the music's available to stream for free. It's available for download in our Discord server. And if you click the album links on the Amazon carousel, it will take you to the Amazon Music where you can listen it to free. Is there a YouTube channel to listen to this music? It's available on YouTube Music. So that's backingtrack.gg/YouTube. It's also on Spotify. It's on pretty much every streaming service. So this is a little bit more of an expensive teleprompter, but it's for a completely different use case, which I can actually showcase because I'm using it for today's stream, even though it's kind of broken due to what happened at the start of the stream. This is the Glide Gear Teleprompter TMP 100, and we have this available in the queue here as well. I'll press that to feature it, assuming that even shows up, and that is over here. So this one is $200 instead of $100. This is my second one I have purchased. But if you're using a dedicated, like, sit-down desk setup like this, this is the setup that I recommend going with because of the higher quality and the features and the flexibilities for displays. But wide angles are still a little bit of a concern, and we're gonna talk about that. But first, let's get this bad boy open. So we have here the box itself. I had my knife. Where did my knife go? There it is. Whee! And see, this is another benefit or purpose of this show, is it helps me actually get caught up with stuff that I have had sitting here for weeks. You can see on the split view, it said the last time I purchased this was April 22nd, 2021. It is a month later and 3 days later, and I still haven't even opened it. So there's that. Throw away the box. Let's get our keyboard out of the way here. All right, so it comes in this lovely bag, which is like great for packing it up, great for shipping it. It's a high quality bag. The problem is once you open it up and set it up and leave it set up for years at a time, you're stuck with the bag. You're stuck holding the bag. So the first one for this is in my attic already. This one will be going in my attic because I don't want to just like throw it away in case I ever tear it down one day. But I also will literally never have a use for it until I'm not using the products, which I always find some weird logic here. So they have an app for this as well if you want to use their apps. I don't really mess with this. This I'm setting up actually at the computer. So I will explain this and show how I'm already using it here as well. Get rid of the foam. Cool thing is this comes mostly built already, which I really appreciate. So we're going to walk through what the different mechanisms are. I'm not going to build out the whole thing since I don't have a camera to plop on it just yet. But we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of this kind of setup as well. So here is the main base for the teleprompter, as you can see here. So it is the same kind of concept. You have a piece of reflective glass, and this is like actual glass, I believe. It's a much bigger piece. You've got the base that your camera actually mounts on here. And so this is a big grippy section with a 1/4-20 thread down here, so you can plop your camera on, and you got a lovely back and forth distance here available to adjust it, which is pretty cool. Then down here, you have a bunch of different mounting points for screwing into tripods or mounts or whatever. And then you have the actual display holder, which comes out really far. And actually, if I switch to the main cam here, you can probably see it better. It stretches out really far and could hold an entire iPad or a decently sized monitor. You can lock that into place. So this is the main part of the teleprompter. Then you have the hood for it, which is this lovely fabric material. It comes with zippers that holds everything together, and then it comes with a little shroud that goes over top your camera to keep the background light out. This is a much more professional and effective solution overall than the cheaper options. But obviously this is, and then you get a bunch of mounting hardware. But obviously this is something that kind of stays in one place. You're not building this and tearing it down pretty regularly. Then you get a little bit of hardware here. This is something that you're building and, setting up kind of once, and that's it. And so I'm going to show you how I currently have using it, or how I'm currently using it, and talk about what my alternatives are here. So if I switch over to this view, oh my God. Hello? There we go. Then I should be able to just switch to this scene. Bam! So my primary camera here is mounted above my desk in one of these teleprompters. This is the Sony A7C, and we have the exact same Glide Gear TMP 100 mounted here, and it is on it's just mounted on an Elgato desk mount, an Elgato, that's what they're called, right? Multi-mount, Elgato multi-mount, and I have that under the base. The problem is the mechanisms for this. Even though there's a ton of mounting holes here, regardless, it is going to be very front heavy. And the Elgato multi-mount is not well suited for things that are front heavy due to the nature of the little ball joint that is inside. So you may notice here that I also have these two support arms. I have these are just two more friction arms, and they are actually clamped to my monitor mount, and they are providing support for the front of the teleprompter just to keep it in place. Now, this looks incredibly goofy, but it is highly effective because this thing does not budge. And then in it, I have a little 7-inch Feel World monitor that's completely flat. It looks dark on camera, but it's very bright to my eye, reflecting up, and then it's connected to my computer just through HDMI. And so I can attach whatever I want to it. I can throw on, you know, I got my stream chat here, although this is for the first VOD of the stream, and we have since, you know, switched to another stream, which is whatever. But I can throw on my Skype preview window for video calling. So if I'm video chatting with someone or being interviewed, I am still looking at the camera when I'm responding, which is an annoying part of video interviews. When I'm reading chat, I'm looking at the lens and responding to chat without being like, chat said hello, which is what I have to do right now because I've got a different chat. But I can put my stream stats, I can put whatever I want up there, on top of the fact that I can use telepromptering on it. And so for telepromptering, I actually use a free website. I'll pull up here. So this is just called telepromptermirror.com. And then you just paste your text in here. This is the script for my World of Demons review. You just paste the script in here. It has options to, if you full screen it, which I don't have a scene for, but I can pull up here. If you full screen it, it has options here for the font size, for the margins, for the speed that it plays, and then which direction you can flip it. So you can mirror it vertically, you can mirror it horizontally, you can play it, you can save it, you can edit your script and add these line breaks and whatever. My only complaint about this website is that it doesn't copy over formatting from text. So if I copy a well-formatted script and everything, even the line breaks and things like that, at least out of Notion, are not copied. So I have to go back through here and edit it before I start recording. But then I just drag this over onto the, onto the teleprompter and hit play, and then I can start recording, and it works out pretty great. And so this is ideal for your desk setups, for your your A cam that doesn't move. If you have a static set that just kind of sits there and you get up in front of it every day and you shoot your shot, and you have another B cam that's the one that moves around, or you have a webcam shot for streaming like this where your camera just stays there because this is your stream cam. You can use it with webcams, you can use it with normal cameras, whatever. This is perfect for that and will provide a much higher quality overall result and give you a lot more flexibility. It's just really awkward to mount, and you don't want to have to set it up and tear it down over and over as you would, for example, with the parrot prompter kind of setups. And so that is pretty neat. And so that is generally what I recommend that kind of prompter for, is for those kinds of setups. Now, in terms of wide angleness, it can be a little frustrating because this is obviously, like, if we're talking, if I pull out the actual hood here, which I threw aside, if I pull out the hood itself and we build this out for a second, if I just haphazardly toss this on here, it attaches with Velcro around the frame. Put an Arca Swiss plate on it and you can remove your camera easily if you need to. I mean, the quick release screw on this is already handy and easy. It's not about that kind of easiness. It's about the fact that it's going to be zipped up in this hood here. So Arca Swiss doesn't make a difference for that. So we get the angle right here, screw it down, and then you got this piece which will go over top your camera. I put it in the wrong spot. There we go. You got a little zipper here. I'm not going to worry about zipping it up right now. But then mount your camera in here and poke it through the little hood. And your camera's nicely tied up in here. Got the little hood here. Obviously, this is a much bigger shroud or hood than one of these bad boys. So it does affect the angle that you're using. Now, you do have full back and forth control of about, I would say, almost a foot of this vertical line here to adjust your camera's distance from the glass so that you can adjust the, the field of view for your wider or less wide angle lenses. But there are still some issues. Now, I am currently shooting on a 24mm lens on a full frame camera. This is the, usually only your lens will be in the hood, except the hood covers the entire mounting place, and you want to seal it up around it. it's easier just to put basically the whole camera in there, but I do have mine zipped up around the lens. I am currently shooting on a 24 millimeter lens. This is the Sony A7C. I've got a 24 millimeter f1.4 G Master lens on here. So that is a pretty wide angle field of view. That is the 24 mil. That's what we just tried over on the Ursa for the other view. But I have it pushed all the way up against the glass. Literally, my camera lens is touching the glass. In fact, I think if we pull back the NDI feed here, I can kind of show that. Whee! So you can see if I get right up on the glass, there is not much of a gap at all. I have it moved as forward as I can. And even with that, I had some issues with the tray for the monitor I'm using, which is why I only went with a 7-inch lens. This little bump was still trying to creep into the frame. So I have this pushed back as far as I can with the monitor pushed as far underneath as I can. So I am missing, like if I pulled up the desktop view on this, I am missing the taskbar on my desktop preview here, but that's fine. And I can still get that out of view. Now I still have, you will see there's a little bit of stuff in the view here. I still have my monitors because I have it mounted behind my monitors. You still get a tiny bit of the monitor bezel in the frame. I could move things around to adjust for that, but I have everything exactly where I need it. So I don't think it's a big deal, and it's just a little bit of a foreground element anyway. But it's worth noting that you could still have a little bit of issues. And again, it is very front heavy. So if you're not putting it on a proper tripod plate versus the little multi-mount, like if you're putting it on a little stick versus a full tripod plate, you're gonna have to get a little creative with the friction arms for supporting the front like I did, but they provide a bunch of random holes in the product to mount stuff to anyway. So that works. But yeah, so this is effectively my third monitor back here that I pull everything up on. And that way I don't need to rely on a phone app or a remote control or whatever. I'm already at my desk. I'm already streaming or recording or whatever, and I can sit here and control it with the mouse and keyboard I'm already using to more easily control the teleprompter, to pause it if I need to rewind it if I need to, and to see chat and things like that. So yeah, that is more or less my take on teleprompters right now. That is what I have been going through for the past few years, as I've been on a quest for setups when I'm streaming to look at chat and to be able to pull up telepromptering for videos, because I shoot videos in multiple different spaces. If you watch my YouTube channel, I have my big fancy camera setup that I showed you that I use for bigger production videos or when I'm in a different spot, but there are tutorials or specific product reviews where it just makes the most sense to be at the computer and at the desk to teach alongside the desktop view. And it's a lot easier to do so with the script if I don't have to read the script off the, because what I've typically done is I've pulled up my script in Google Docs or Notion or whatever and put it on the monitor directly below the camera, and then I'm like trying to read ahead and then jut back to the lens and be like, today we're talking about this iPhone. This is the iPhone. Oh yeah, this is the iPhone. And like, it's just not a professional or polished experience. So having it directly on the lens really improves things and keeps me from having to really fight with it a whole heck of a lot. And so I have been pretty stoked with this result. And the second one that I have picked up is actually for my retro corner setup, which I do some of my streams and videos from, because I want to be able to have scripted videos from there. I am much tighter on space overall in that area, so I'm not sure about fitting this just yet, but the goal was to have the exact same setup over there, so it's a seamless workflow, and I may even set up more in time, because I would love to be able to just clone it out to, you know, with an HDMI splitter, clone it out to whatever multicam setup I have and be able to keep looking at the same script no matter where I am set up. And so they are definitely two different tools for two very different purposes, but they come in quite handy for these kinds of things. Would a small screen under a shifted lens work? I've never seen it done. I am not sure. Theoretically it could work, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you could just get... Yeah, I mean, so a shifted lens, if I'm understanding the question right, is actually my Laowa lens, I think, can do it, but you can effectively, there are tilt shift lenses, and that's two different functions, but the shifting function is you can basically kind of shoot up the lens a little bit while still being mounted to the camera in the same area, and that adjusts the height that it's at. And so theoretically you could compensate for like a phone sitting here while still looking at your eye level. theoretically that would be okay. Someone said a 24-inch just behind the camera. I have a big monitor that I use for my big camera setup that I use for my preview and things like that, and I try to keep it directly behind the camera so I can see myself when I'm focusing, because that's a manual focus camera and all of that. But it's still pretty obvious. Like right now, I am looking where a 24-inch monitor behind the camera would be, and if I'm pretending to read a script, blah 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 blah, or even over on this side, blah 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 blah, like it's still obvious you're not looking at the camera, even if it's right like slightly above it. Either you're blocking off half your script with the camera, or you're very clearly still not looking at the camera. So IMO, I don't know. Now you would fit much less text on the screen, but you could do a vertical phone mount and put it right next to your lens and be ever so slightly better. But again, you can still tell I'm looking to the side. Like if you want the exact kind of look, it's hard to recreate it without having something right in front of the lens. Someone's asking, how far along are the video filters to emulate the teleprompter effect? Just two unblinking anime eyes that stare into the Actually, that's really interesting of a question, because there are specifically, NVIDIA is working on a AI kind of thing that helps with video compression for video conferencing, for video chatting, where instead of just compressing the whole stream of video, they actually just basically compress individual keyframes from the actual video feed and use AI to generate the rest of it on the other end to save on bandwidth, which is some uncanny valley stuff, but really clever. And so theoretically, you could actually get to a similar point by having AI that just kind of, you would have to keep your head very still, or it would have to have face tracking, which would work in post, but not as well live. You'd get that really weird deep fake, like the face detaches from the head kind of look. You could get to that point where it just like fakes your face still staring at the camera, but eventually you're gonna get some angles where like your eyes over here and your mouth is over here. It would start to look kind of creepy pretty quickly, at least with the AI right now. But in the future, I could see that working out. Someone asked what teleprompter software I used on Windows. I just showed it off. It's a free website called telepromptermirror.com. It's available for free. You just paste your script in here. You get control over the margins, over the text speed, over scrolling, and then you get a play pause button, and you get mirroring both vertically and horizontally. Now, I don't recommend, recommendation isn't the question. I don't personally use mirroring in the software because the field monitor that I use, the Field World one that I'm featuring, actually has mirroring capabilities built into it, since it's designed for the purposes of being slapped on the camera and showing in mirrored formats. And so that works out pretty well. But this this web app does have the capability of showcasing mirrored text, because actually mirroring on Windows is apparently really difficult for some reason. The only thing I've found is like a $40 paid app that isn't designed specifically for that purpose, but gives you that purpose. Like you can do flipped, but not mirrored. It's really bizarre. I don't understand what's up with that. What about a DIY teleprompter for you? Again, that would work for these sit-down setups to replace the glide gear specifically. You could rig up something with some wood and some glass. There are plenty of videos on it. I think DIY Parks has videos on it and things like that. But ultimately, you're, for the most part, without a lot more time and budget being put into actually building it, for the most part, you are going to end up with a result that is bigger and clunkier than this. You could get something that actually works, but you're going to end up with something larger, and larger is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to get, especially for the on-camera stuff. And so I want something as small and out of the way as possible for this. And frankly, I would love if this was a little bit less clunky, but this is about the smallest form factor you can get that is effective for this kind of stuff. But when you start DIYing some of these kinds of things, you're going to end up with something a little bit bigger. Why in the world would this be a web app? Because the year is 2021 and everything is a web app, because people don't want to download programs anymore. And so there's really no reason it needs to be a computer program other than specifically offline scenarios. And so yeah, that works. Someone's asking in the Amazon chat, so you just move the browser to the field world camera monitor? Yeah, I can actually show you that right now through our NDI view here, which I keep opening the wrong app for it, but that's fine. So I can actually show you in real time what I'm doing. So this is the view. I don't think I get the ultra wide camera on here. Nope. So this is the view I have. Currently I have the old YouTube chat hanging out up there, but I just take the tab for this, drag it over to that monitor, and bam. And then I hit F11 to full screen it, adjust the size and everything that I need, and then hit play. And then I sit here and I read my script. That's about it. And yes, someone pointed out you could just memorize your script, but when you're doing 30-minute, hour-long takes of educational videos that have very specific technical information that if you mess up or get wrong, you're gonna have to reference the script anyway, just memorize the script is not really a smart alternative. Like, yes, you should be going through, frankly, when it comes to natural script reading, the more pre-reading and pre-memorizing you do of your script to get more familiar for it, and familiar with it rather, and more comfortable providing a natural conversational style with it, the better your result is going to be. But you still like, you still want the script to reference as you go, because especially with technical details or trying to get very specific wording right, if you mess it up, then you're just checking the script and redoing it anyway, so it doesn't save you anything really. But yeah. All right. Just ordered that monitor. Very nice. Much appreciated. Hope you enjoy it. It's a very handy setup. The monitor isn't great for a lot of things, but as a teleprompter monitor or a basic on-camera monitor, it's not too bad. And you can power it over USB if you get the right cables for it. And I got a little right-angle HDMI adapter to fit it in the teleprompter, which I guess I should have added to the carousel, which I don't think I can do in real time, but I can show you here. I pull up my orders. These have been very handy for these kinds of setups. So there's two different kinds I will actually show here. So this is the one I currently have in my teleprompter setup right now, and they have them, it's a 2-pack, you get both right angled directions, and so I just have it right angled with the HDMI cable coming towards me and run down to my computer. But you also have these, and these are basically little pigtails, and I'm trying to use these for my Atomos setups, my video recorder setups that I have above my monitor, but the signals keep cutting out with them. So I'm gonna try, I think I got a second one of these, so I'm gonna try the other one and see if this one just has a short, but I haven't had the best of luck with the signal stability on this one. Someone's asking me to clarify which Glide teleprompter I am using. I am using the Glide Gear TMP 100. It is a little pricey, and for those asking about DIYing, yep, this is one scenario where it would definitely be cheaper. But for me, time is of the essence, of the evanescence, of the whatever, and I will, that was a joke, by the way. And I will happily pay for something that's going to sit here for years on end and serve my purpose, that I don't have to spend a little bit of time to, keep it going. Is there a program that would let you run your script over your main screen that could be layered out of OBS so people don't see your script scrolling? So you mean like you're looking at your desktop view and it shows it up there, but it's not shown up in OBS? I don't know that there is. You could just do window capture instead of display capture for whatever you're capturing, but I'm not really sure. Someone's asking about checking these teleprompters with webcams. And yes, actually, I'm even going to take the parrot prompter wherever I set it. I have currently cooked it. Time is the monkey, people. Time is monkey. So I'm going to take the parrot prompter and I'm actually going to put it up to a webcam. This is going to be really awkward because it's way up above me. We have the bird's eye view of the studio here, and for whatever reason, my settings for it got reset, so it is completely blown out. So we are going to adjust that on the fly. This is the AverMedia live streamer webcam PW513, long ass name. If we turn down the brightness a little, actually, if we turn down the gain ain't doing nothing for us. Yeah, gain ain't doing nothing for it. Let's turn down the brightness. 2 stops. We are not getting any changes in real time. What in the world? Oh, we're on auto exposure. Yeah, that'll do it. Alright, so we're on manual exposure. I don't know why my settings got reset. Thanks, Windows. Turn up the brightness back up a little bit. Turn the gain back up a little bit. That should be fine. So I'm going to go hold this teleprompter up to that webcam just so you can kind of get a live demonstration here. My stream is actually on the Amazon page for the Desview T2. That's pretty neat, actually. Okay. Oh, I can't reach it. No! My plan has failed. I can't reach the webcam. Darn it. There we go. Alright, so this is with, I obviously couldn't hold it there for very long to demonstrate a whole lot, but that is with the widest field of view mode on the PW513, so you get a tiny bit of this cropping into the field of view. So if you applied a little bit of a crop in OBS to showcase this, honestly that would be fine. You wouldn't be losing too much resolution, and I think that would work out. I will probably do a separate video on just testing teleprompters with webcams just to kind of follow up with these details to reference the stream and the like, but generally you're going to be fine with webcams, especially because webcams you can get like right up on top of this. Obviously the parrot prompter is a terrible example specifically because it's designed to attach to a lens. The point was this is the most offensive in terms of the shroud affecting your field of view, so I wanted to test with that. With the glide gear you're not going to have any problem at all because you can stretch it literally up against the glass and be fine. This was just the most awkward one. People are asking about the audio setup, which is good because I specifically had that in my Amazon queue here. So if I pull up, it is hard to juggle a bunch of stuff on one phone. Someone's also suggesting in the Amazon chat that the TMP 50 is a smaller alternative that can fit the same monitor. That is good to know. I wish I would have bought that instead. If so, I was under the impression that it wouldn't do what I want for some reason, so we are going to pull it up and compare. Oh, I see. That's why. Alright, so if we pull it up, this is the TMP 50. So this is why specifically I didn't get it. It doesn't have quite the same level of like shrouding and protection. Like it has something here, but it's not quite the same. But this is definitely a smaller alternative designed primarily for webcams or smartphones, which is great because that's what a lot of people are asking about right now. So that's pretty cool. And it is $100 instead of $200 like the TMP 100. So that is a good alternative for you to check out. I think I can actually add that to the queue here, TMP 50. I can. So I've added it to my Amazon carousel if that's what you're looking for over on the Amazon chat. Now, let's talk about the audio setup real quick since people are asking. So what I have currently right now is the... Hello? Oh, things have broken. Things have definitely broken, so I can't feature it in the carousel. But what I am using for my mic mounting right now is this. You can just see it barely in frame here. This is a Vivo microphone arm, and I now have two of these. This is $80, which is kind of expensive for a mic arm if you're not used to buying like the super high-end ones. Most of the mic arms I've bought are more expensive than this these days. But this is a mic arm designed by a monitor mount company. So it uses the same kind of pole mount design as Vivo's monitor mounts, but you just slide a little mic arm onto it. Actually, that's kind of what they use for their monitor arms anyway. It just ends in a mic clamp, and so I don't use their clamp. I just have the normal RE20 clamped on here. But I can show you how I have this rigged up because I also have the Stream Deck mounted on it, which I think is actually a pretty cool use case here. Once my phone catches up, there we go. So here we have my Electro Voice RE20 Black. They did finally release a black one instead of the awkward green one. It's mounted on the Vivo arm here. The XLR cable runs through it. I get height adjustment, like a significant amount of height adjustment, because obviously I can adjust the height like this right now, but then I have this entire pole that I could mount it on as well, which gives me a lot more flexibility for where it is. So I have it clamped. I'm adjusting the mic as I go here. I have it clamped to my desk. I'm probably just going to put stickers on that to make it less obvious. And then I have the pole running behind my monitor out of the way. And then I have another friction arm that I have the Stream Deck attached to. And this is a 3D printed Stream Deck mount by my buddy AD Wheeler. I will post a link to that in chat for YouTube. Everyone else just follow me on Twitter to get a link to that, and I will actually pull that up right now for the YouTube viewers. It is a 3D designed and printed Stream Deck clamp, and they actually have one that I have over on my my retro corner setup, where I actually have my own custom nameplate as well. So that is etsy.com/shop/ad3d store. Bam. And then for the rest of my audio here, I have, of course, it's the Electro Voice RE20 Black. The Electro Voice RE20 has been one of my favorite desktop microphones since 2016. It is a glorious dynamic microphone that just has a great natural sound, and I have a little bit of VST processing in OBS. Here's the Vivo arm. I've been looking for something like this for a long time. Now, the cool thing here is with the Vivo arm is if you already have, like I have a monitor arm that has the same size pole as the Vivo mount, and especially if you have Vivo monitor stands, then you can just exclude the pole altogether and take off your monitors and slide it down on your monitor pole and have it come up between your monitors. Now, I didn't do this for ergonomic concerns of where I want the mic to be and how I want it to be out of my way when I'm not using it, but that is completely viable, as you can actually put this on your monitor arm if you have one of these kinds of monitor mounts below your monitors and have it come underneath of your monitors, which is pretty freaking sick. It is incredible, honestly. And then the interface I'm using is the Audient Evo 4, which is a great little interface that provides enough gain out of the box without a cloud lift or anything for the RE20 or the Shure SM7B. I'll have a review coming on that at some point. That was the desk. Yeah, that's about all we had to talk about in terms of the Amazon products, so I can close most of that junk. But yeah, would you say it's better than the Rode arm for desk setups? I am honestly not a fan of the Rode arm. I have this one back here. No, this is my Heil one. So I am a fan of the Heil PL2T. The Heil PL2T, the RA BAI 2N, and the Rode desk microphone arm are all decent options that are a higher tier over the super cheap, like $20 stuff. I prefer the Heil out of all three of those options. The RA is nice as a cheap alternative. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. The Rode one just doesn't hold enough weight without a lot of cranking on the gears. It's the same design, it's the same build quality overall, but it just does simply not hold enough weight, in my opinion. And so I am not a huge fan of it. The Heil one is the one I prefer, especially for these heavier mics like the Electro Voice RE20. You just need something that holds a lot more weight. But yeah, I will post a link to the mic arm in chat. I should have been doing this the whole time. I do have special affiliate links if you can use that will help support the channel. Apparently that link is too long. Thanks, YouTube. What if I do something real quick here? I want to do this on the fly. Actually, I'm just going to add it to the description. What the hell am I doing? You'd need to refresh the stream. Mic arm. I posted a link to it in chat. If you could use those affiliate links, they do help this show specifically, as well as the stream and my channel overall. But yeah, that's about all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize that we got off to such a rough start with the multiple stream VODs, and I'm sure I ruined my notification for the next 24 hours and all of that. In fact, I probably need to go slightly tweak tomorrow's video schedule because of that. But this is going to be a pretty good show. I'm feeling good about this. I'm glad. I've been trying to talk about these teleprompters for so long. And again, I want to just demonstrate again how insane this setup is. If I turn my main camera back on real quick here. The Desview T2 fitting on a 15mm full frame field of view is just so mind-boggling. I can't even like express how good it is. So here is my 15mm ultra-wide lens that I honestly... If you guys like the look of this, I should shoot more videos like this in this, where you get the full view of my desk. Usually I'm much more zoomed in. But the fact that I can literally put it on here without sacrificing any of this 15mm ultra wide angle view is insane. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And so I am so glad that I finally found this alternative, and I'm glad that I finally got to talk about the teleprompters, because honestly, like I said, this is the goal of this show is to cover these things that I just otherwise would put off a video forever and not really get to make a video. So, yeah. The store page for the Desview T2 says 50mm plus. This is something I've been trying to clarify because the focus length listings for these teleprompters makes zero sense. That's actually a big motivator why I wanted to make the stream about this, because I want to help people find the wider angle, wider angle teleprompters that help out, because they're surprisingly hard to find. You have to cover the cables under your desk if you use that angle. Oh, hell no. You all have to see all the crazy setups I have going. And in fact, if we switch over to this view real quick here, you can't really see it. I have like 3 different computers amalgamated together under here because I've been doing so many tests and captures for certain game projects and things like that. So it's pretty cool. What teleprompter products would you like to see that are not available? Something like the Desview T2 here that works at a super wide angle field of view, but that has a competent phone mount. Because if you missed the start of the stream, I had to rig up my own phone mount to keep it out of the view. Because the hood is the main concern. You could do whatever to get something pointed at the glass. And so I had to rig up my own phone mount to keep it out of view of the camera lens. So something like this that's more competently designed to keep the phone mount out of the glass as well for wide angle lenses. Theoretically, a teleprompter that actually just has a screen of some sort built in already that is also out of field of view at really wide angle lenses I can just stream to from my desktop or phone and keep the same ideas of video chat, although there would be a delay if it's a built-in thing versus a monitor, or teleprompter scripting or whatever built into it. Before your desk, you had mostly a custom-built desk. Yes, so you know what? We'll wrap up this stream with a little bit of a setup tour here. I don't mind. I'm not going to do a full tour. We have a video on that coming soon. It's not ready yet. It's obviously a disaster right now. Actually, I don't need NDI. I can just do the airsoft. So this is effectively, I have replaced this main desk piece because it was bowing out. But this is effectively the same custom desk that I had at my last apartment. Not quite as big as the original mega desk at our second apartment, but we have 2 legs here built out of 2x6s. This is a MDF top. I believe this is like 64 or 65 inches wide. And then we have another one, and this one is 24.5 inches deep. Then we have another MDF piece that is like 75 inches wide and like 30 something inches deep, and then some more 2x6 legs. And to help try to stop the bowing, I actually have a short 2x4 leg up against the back of this to support the middle and the back here. That will help with that. And then due to the way my new studio is set up, because it's a garage, it has this weird like 3-inch or 4-inch floorboard kind of thing sticking out. So I can't put it up against the wall, which actually gives me a nice gap behind the desk in order to manage my monitor mounts or cables or whatever. And so that is pretty nice. I love how you've got a massive amount of gear and then you've got a janky desk out of MDF. No, no, no. This is not janky. This is custom built to my purpose that serves it better than any pre-built desk possibly would. I have been built out of wood. I have been literally building my own custom desks to meet my desk needs since I was 15, 14, maybe. It was like 2008. Actually, no, it was before that, because we already had one where we used file cabinets as the legs, but it was still an MDF top. So I've had custom desks since like, I want to say 2005 maybe. Like, it's been a very long time, and it's because while it may not look quite as professional, I can't get the functionality that I want and build into these custom desks out of a pre-built desk. In fact, the only pre-built desk that I have built, or bought rather, in apparently like almost 20 years now, has been this one over here that I use for my retro setup. I just wanted something easy. I didn't want to have to cut any more wood because we were already done with the setup. And I wanted something that was heavy enough to support CRTs without bowing. And so it's got that metal bar for support. And so I bought that on Amazon. And that is the only pre-built desk I have bought in nearly 20 years. Due to the fact that I just can't get what I want out of pre-builts. Like, this is the way to go. Like, oh yeah, I built an entire entertainment center to support my over 100-pound BVM CRT as well. Someone asked what chair I use. I'm going to see if it's still on Amazon because this one is super old. I bought it in 2016. It's called the Alera Illusion, not Elysian. Hey, it's still there. It's a little more expensive. Actually, here it is. I'm adding it to the carousel for those of you watching on Amazon, so you can see it there as well. It still won't let me feature it since I added it after the fact, but it's there. I'm going to pull it up and post the link in the video description. Again, you will have to refresh the stream to get the link. Again, if you do want to buy one. And I'm going to talk about this chair for just a minute before I really got to wrap up the stream after this. So this is the Alera... Oh, Stream Deck. This is the Alera Illusion. It's been resold a couple times. I bought this in 2016, and it's still holding up today. It is a mesh back chair. I had always just used the basic $40, $50 Staples office chairs that were leather and solid back and all of that, and my back was killing me. I spent 18 plus hours at a desk, at least I did before I had a kid, working and things like that, and my back was just really suffering. So I wanted to get a mesh back chair, but at the time, I didn't have any budget. And so when I moved into my first apartment and built a new setup, I wanted a new chair. And so I bought this one, and it has held up phenomenally, and actually holds up better in some ways than newer chairs do. So it's a mid-back chair, so it doesn't have a headrest or anything, but I don't use it, so that's fine for me. It has nice lumbar support. The mesh has loosened up a little bit in the past, 5 years now? But it still supports my back just fine. And then it has these adjustable armrests, and that's the thing that holds up better than most chairs today, is these don't look like any different armrests like in the picture, but these are soft, like rubbery armrests, which means your elbows are not going to be in pain. I have reviewed a couple times on the YouTube channel a bunch of different office and gaming chairs, and every single time they have this really awfully hard plastic as the armrest, to the extent that my elbows will be blood red after using them for a few hours because it's so hard on your elbows, to the extent that my new favorite chair, which I just haven't brought out to the studio yet, the Autonomous Ergo Chair 2, I bought custom third-party armrest pads for it because the armrests were just so painful, because they all are this way these days, that I wanted something to cushion my elbows, and it works out great for that. And both the rubber and the seat have been clawed to hell and back by my cats and still barely look used at all. And this cushion is one of the thickest, softest cushions on a seat for a chair that I have ever used, and it's still just as cushiony as the day I bought it 5 years ago, despite the fact that most chairs will flatten out by then, and that's a complaint I've heard of the Ergo chair as well, although mine hasn't. So for a chair less than $200, this is one of the best value chairs you can get. I think ergonomically, in terms of your back and things like that, the Ergo chair and chairs like that are probably a better option overall, honestly, and that's why typically I use that in my office setup. We moved and I put that one in the house, and I never really got there. I'm going to ban this person spamming chat now. Holy cow. Thank you, Cujo. But yeah, you haven't been thrilled with your autonomous chair? That's unfortunate. I really like mine. I did have someone in the Amazon chat asking, would the RTMP plugin for streaming work better than using Restream? Probably what I'm going to be doing soon. Worst case, I'm going to roll out my own multi-streaming server where I just stream to that and then back out to different places, but I am going to try out the plugin. I had a bunch of credits for Restream for some reason. I guess I never got an email from them, but I think they sent it to me to like cover and things like that, but based on this experience, I don't know that I recommend it anymore, because at least specifically for YouTube, because that was the worst. That was an unacceptable experience to have had. So there's that. But yeah, oh yeah, Cujo's mentioning the wheels. I actually want to mention that real quick as well. Let me pull them up real quick. I do recommend with basically any chair you get, including the Herman Miller chairs, which are super expensive and you wouldn't think you would have to. But basically, with any office chair you get, I highly recommend, and it depends on your floor. If you have hard floors, this isn't as important. But with basically any chair you get, I would recommend replacing the wheels in them with these caster style wheels, because they roll so much smoother, they work so much better. I'm adding them to the Amazon queue as well. They roll so much better on carpet, on rugs, on chair mats even. They support the weight a little bit better, and they last a lot longer. They don't get as tied up by, hair or dust or anything like that. Yeah, I have purchased this both for the Alera Illusion as well as my Autonomous Ergo chair. My wife didn't want to upgrade just because they don't like spending money, but I wanted to do theirs as well. So this is pretty neat. Someone's asking if I've ever tried Secret Lab chairs. I haven't, but all the ones I have seen look like the typical gaming chair style, and I just can't possibly recommend someone put their body through that because it just isn't good for you. I just can't. Those style of chairs are just terrible. Yeah, that about wraps up today's stream. I did want to briefly at the end here cover one thing. Ironically brought up by the person spamming the chat, but will 4K streaming. I do have an entire video about how to stream 4K available on the channel. You can check that out, linked in chat here, about my workflow for it and things like that. Obviously, I believe today's stream is limited to 1440p because it randomly got set to low latency by Restream for no apparent reason. But yeah, that about wraps up today's first episode of AFK Chat. This is why today was supposed to be the pilot episode to figure out everything else. Appreciate your all support. Go follow me on Amazon. Links in the description below, as well as the affiliate links for the specific products. It would help me out a ton if you use them, if you're purchasing any of these. But, go follow me on Amazon. Would help out the show a lot. But AFK Chat will be a recurring show Tuesdays at 3 p.m. We're going to talk about a lot of these. I think the next episode next week will focus on getting the best possible image quality out of cheap webcams and comparing a little array here of cheaper webcams. I think that would be a lot of fun and excited to keep that going. So thanks so much. Hit the like button. If you're over on Amazon, go follow me on YouTube. If you're over on YouTube, go follow me on Amazon. Thank you for your support. Everyone was great about the stream despite the fact that we had so many misfires here. Thanks to, and join our Discord, discord.gg/EposVox. And of course, go check out our backing track music. And I'll leave you with that ad, which I'm going to have to play out through the system sound since actually no, Amazon will just have louder music, I guess. All right. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Thank you for your support. Peace. Do you need stream-safe music for your streams and videos, but want something a little heavier? My awesome community sought to solve that and made Backing Track. Hard rock and heavy metal music, safe for your content and free to use. No subscriptions. Head over to backingtrack.gg to stream it or join our Discord for free downloads. Swoop.